darling heart, and welcome to this episode of the Drink Less, Live Better podcast. This is the podcast that helps you to see that drinking less doesn't need to be stressful, lonely, or boring. I'm your host, Sarah Williamson, and I decided to have a year alcohol-free as a little life experiment and haven't looked back. I'm a best-selling author, expert speaker, corporate workshop facilitator, and life coach. I'm here to support you with your alcohol-free or drink less adventures. To keep up to date, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Drink Less, Live Better, and head to the website drinklesslivebetter.com, where you will be able to sign up to the 5-day Drink Less experiment, find blog posts, and you can choose to join the email club, where I share resources, wisdom, insights, and glimmers of hope and joy. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Let's get straight to it. Not New Year resolutions. As the clock ticks down to the end of another year, many people find themselves contemplating the age-old tradition of making New Year's resolutions. But I like to be awkward, not me. Many years ago, I decided to break free from the resolution-making cycle and embrace a different approach. The biggest not New Year resolution I ever made was to put an extended pause on my drinking. Over 4 years later, that's still working out well. I had originally intended it to be a New Year's resolution starting on the 1st of January 2020. But in fact, during the autumn of 2019, I realised I was just stalling, I was making delaying tactics, and I began that not New Year's resolution on the 8th of December 2019. So often our resolutions come with a side serving of more. I'm going to run more, I'm going to go to the gym more, I'm going to meditate more, or whatever else. My best ever not New Year resolution was about drinking less. So yes, I think less might be my preferred way into lasting habit change. Resolutions often come with a feeling of pressure and expectation that can quickly turn the excitement of a fresh idea into a stressful endeavour. I think we could all opt for a more relaxed and spontaneous approach, embracing the idea that life itself is not a destination that we're trying to get to. Rather than setting rigid goals this year, I'm focusing on enjoying the processes and celebrating the small victories along my way. Another reason I steer clear of resolutions is the all-or-nothing mindset that often accompanies them. Setting goals and then feeling like a failure if they're not met perfectly can be really disheartening. So this year, again, I'm choosing flexibility over rigidity. By adopting a more forgiving attitude towards myself, I am setting the stage for another positive and uplifting year ahead. Let's not forget the cliche of abandoned resolutions by mid-February. Who am I kidding? Mid-January. It's like a rite of passage to start the year with grand plans, only to realise a few weeks later that life has a funny old way of throwing curveballs. Instead of setting myself up for potential disappointment, I am focusing on creating really small but useful habits. Small, sustainable changes that gradually become a natural part of my routine, making them easier to maintain throughout the whole year ahead, and further on than that. Resolutions often revolve around fixing a perceived flaw, which can inadvertently create a negative mindset about ourselves. Rather than focusing on what needs fixing, I'm going to celebrate what is already working out really well for me. I generally prefer the idea of having intentions or ambitions to work towards rather than resolutions or goals, and I know that I can be brilliantly consistent when everything feels right. Testing, retesting, experimenting and adjusting through the course of the year works really well for me. I have some major ambitions I'd love to enjoy this year. I've broken the steps down into what I think looks like a manageable process, and I am enjoying lining myself up for success in these areas. Watch out, New Year. It's all there for all of us to experience and enjoy. Thank you for listening in today. Come back again next week. I'd massively appreciate it if you could subscribe, rate and review the podcast. Well, do that if you love it, obviously. If you don't love it, you wouldn't still be listening, so I think I'm safe asking for your support at this point. Check out the show notes for a link to a hidden podcast episode that will help you with your 5 p.m. cravings and details about my one-to-one life coaching and sober coaching programs. And P.S. I believe in you.